So, Eli, how did we get to this point where the U.S. Department of Justice is trying to break up Ticketmaster and Live Nation?
So you might remember back in 2022, tickets for the Taylor Swift tour went on sale. Ticketmaster is the exclusive seller. There was massive demand, and essentially the system buckled under the weight of the fans. The system crashed. There was a lot of frustration, and Taylor herself took Ticketmaster to task, saying, and I quote, "I'm not going to make excuses for anyone because we asked them multiple times if they could handle this kind of demand, and we were assured they could. It's truly amazing that 2.4 million people got tickets, but it really pisses me off," and that's Taylor's words, "that a lot of them felt like they went through several bear attacks to get them." That is Taylor describing dealing with Ticketmaster like being attacked by a bear. Now, this led to Ticketmaster executives being hauled before Congress and senators quoting Swift song lyrics and the CEO apologizing.
May I suggest respectfully that Ticketmaster ought to look in the mirror and say, "I'm the problem. It's me."
Senator, we absolutely agree there are a lot of problems in this industry, and as the leading player, we have an obligation to do better.
But behind the scenes, the Department of Justice had already launched an investigation 2 years looking at how Live Nation leverages its position in the industry. Now, it is somewhat ironic since it was the DOJ and here in Canada, our very own Competition Bureau, that allowed the merger between Live Nation and Ticketmaster to take place, and that was back in 2010.
So then, what exactly is the Department of Justice and 30 states accusing them of doing?
Essentially using their power and dominance in the industry to lock venues into exclusive contracts, pressuring artists and intimidating other concert promoters. The DOJ says that Live Nation controls 60% of concert promotions in the United States and 80% of primary ticketing. As the Attorney General said yesterday, fans should be able to go to concerts without a monopoly standing in their way. The DOJ is saying, as you mentioned, it's time for Live Nation and Ticketmaster to be broken up. The lawsuit described what Live Nation itself has touted as its flywheel business model, charging customer fees, attracting artists, and then, as the DOJ alleges, locking them into long-term deals. Now, I should point out Live Nation refutes just about everything that the Department of Justice is alleging. They say the lawsuit against Live Nation and Ticketmaster won't reduce ticket prices or service fees, that artist teams set prices for their tickets while the venues set and keep the majority of ticket fees, not Ticketmaster.
Okay, well, all that said, the big question is, if they succeed, will it actually mean cheaper ticket prices and better access, Eli?
You know, I don't want to frustrate fans, but the most honest answer is maybe. Some experts say that Live Nation's size allows it to take less of a profit margin than other concert promoters, and that it's mainly artists that are driving prices. So if Live Nation and Ticketmaster were broken up, artists could charge customers more to make up the difference, since smaller concert promoters would take more profit. Now, others say extra ticket fees, convenience fees, service fees, that is part of the ticket price bloat. So with less power and more competition, those fees could shrink. Now, it's interesting to look at Europe, where they have legislation about open ticketing. That means multiple companies can sell tickets for the same tour, which is why you may have heard about Taylor Swift fans flying to see her in Paris. Now, others I spoke to say even on its own, Ticketmaster has too much power, and they're calling on the government to go further, breaking up Ticketmaster itself into smaller regional companies.
Okay, in the meantime, while this suit unfolds, what can people do, if anything, to score cheaper tickets?
First, be patient. These kind of antitrust lawsuits take a very long time. It could be fascinating. We can get a whole new understanding and look at the inner workings of Live Nation. But the change, even if it comes, is far down the road. So if you can't afford a flight to Paris, which isn't exactly a way to save money, we spoke with a personal finance expert, Barry Choi. He says the right kind of credit card could be an advantage.
The only way around Ticketmaster is to hope that your credit card provider has exclusive access with some concerts. For example, RBC recently announced they had partnered for the Taylor Swift tour, so you could get early access. That doesn't mean you're going to get super low fares. It just means you get better access to tickets. American Express membership rewards, same thing. If you're an American Express cardholder, you get access to American Express experiences. The best thing you can do really is to see if you can offset your costs with any loyalty points or say cashback rewards that you may have.
Interesting suggestions. Remembering, too, though, that those credit cards all come with sizable annual fees. So what are the artists saying?
That's what's interesting. Some of the most vocal musicians yesterday, when this was announced, people who took on Ticketmaster, like Bruce Springsteen, Taylor Swift, Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam, they didn't say anything. Now, I've spoken to other musicians who were afraid to go on the record for fear of reprisal. And others have told me they're worried that the lack of competition is actually hurting the creation of new artists. They have less access to venues, to independent concert promoters. That means less new music, less new voices. Now, some in the industry are looking at simpler solutions. Our colleagues at Marketplace spoke to Richard Jones. He's the manager of the Pixies last summer. In the past, they actually went around Ticketmaster selling their own tickets. And he has an idea to put more affordable tickets on the market.
We would like to see consumer law which makes reselling tickets at a profit illegal. It'll remove the abuse of the system, and there'll be more tickets to go around at the correct price.
Although others say there's always going to be a secondary market, whether it's legal or not.
Yes, there will. Where there's a will, there's a way. So the U.S. is taking action. What about here in Canada? What are Canadian authorities doing?
Well, we reached out to the Canadian Competition Bureau. They said they're aware of what's happening in Washington, that they work closely with their international counterparts, but they also work confidentially. So they, at this time, cannot confirm whether or not they're conducting their own investigation. I will say, Erica, a lot of the artists that I spoke to say the Competition Bureau should follow Washington's lead.
Eli, thanks for this. Our senior entertainment reporter, Eli Glasner, thanks for breaking it all down.
My pleasure.